Namaskar, I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to our special session. Yes, from today we are beginning the series of ours on school leadership development for Viksit Bharat at 2047 for this year. And under this series we will bring you different sessions with unique topics, with unique guests and with some exciting informations, milestones and achievements. You are watching this session of ours on PME Vidya channels 6, 9 and 12 and also on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. The session is live and interactive and you can participate in today's session with your queries, suggestions, your experiences and your feedback. So you can take down our phone number which is 8800440559. We also have a dedicated email ID for you, that is dth.class6@nic.in, whether 6, 9, 12, whatever you want, you can definitely put the same there. It is also flashing on the screen. You can also, send us your suggestions, questions on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. So, this is the beginning today, and the very first session that we have brought for you today is titled Envisioning School Leadership Development, Milestones and Way Forward. So, every Friday we will bring you these sessions under different themes, different topics, from 5:30 to 6:15 p.m. and you can watch them, you can share your suggestions with us, your questions and get in touch with our experts. So today we will learn about NCSL. What is NCSL? What is it doing at Niepa? What are the milestones that it has achieved and what is the way forward? So we will cover all these important aspects and who is there to throw light on this. So yes, please join me in welcoming my guest for today. We have with us Dr. Charu Malik. Ma'am, namaskar and a very warm welcome. And let me tell everybody that ma'am is Assistant Professor from National Center for School Leadership at Niepa. Now, this is the beginning today. Yes. Very first session, something new that you have brought forward, and of course the series will continue with some exciting themes. But first of all, I want to know what is this NCSL, what this acronym is all about.
So, a National Center for School Leadership is what NCSL stands for.
Okay.
And this center was established in 2012 in Niepa, which is the National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration.
Okay.
A center which is dedicated to school education in India, and we are working with the government and aided schools, right from preschool till secondary.
All right.
And we are also an important center which is establishing a link between school and higher education, focusing on transition of secondary school graduates to higher education as well.
Right.
So this is really the scope of NCSL, wherein we are working with all these schools and developing some very rich practitioner-centric content for school leaders and for every administrator who is associated with the school ecosystem in India. So we move ahead with
yes, and ma'am, I want to ask you one more thing, because generally these sessions are about school heads of the country. You bring eminent personalities and we talk about the achievement. What is so special about today's session?
Yes, so this is really a preliminary session in terms of understanding what NCSL is and what we have done over the last 1 year and what is our plan for this coming year. So we would just have a glimpse of our achievements as a center and what is scheduled for the current financial year.
So ma'am, please take us through the journey.
Yes, so if you look at the slide, we have defined in terms of what does NCSL do, what are the core functions of NCSL. We have 4 core functions of the center, and this is for everyone who's associated with the school education ecosystem. Curriculum and material development, continuous professional development and capacity building, networking and institutional building, and research and development. So these are the 4 core functions of NCSL. In the first domain, we are working for developing rich practitioner-centric materials, resource books, handbooks, which can assist the school leaders and every leader in the school system to understand what are the recent policy documents, to understand how to translate those policy documents into the school and the system, and to also, of course, in this entire process, enrich themselves as professionals. So we come to the second domain now, which is continuous professional development. As we all know, NEP 2020 has identified 50 hours of mandated continuous professional development for all the school leaders.
Right.
So they must at least do 50 hours of CPD every single year. And then we know that the sky is the limit.
Yes.
We are all lifelong learners, and continuous professional development is something that goes on with us even beyond our career years. And we plan to conduct some important relevant workshops as well, programs this year, face to face as well as online, which are targeting the CPD of educational functionaries who are working with the government and the aided system. But of course, as we know, Harpreet, we cannot do this massive task alone.
Yes.
So we need the support and collaboration of many more institutions, which is why we have established 29 school leadership academies in 29 states and UTs, and we would also be expanding to the remaining states and UTs in this current year.
Right.
And we hope to reach to every school and every child with the support of these leadership academies, which are basically state education institutes, which are the leading state education institutes in each of the state.
Right.
UT, we only work with many UTs, we work with all of them, but Ladakh is one UT which is specifically being provided by the Leadership Academy. Then the fourth component is research and development. So we're not a training center, a typical training center. We are a center which is specializing in the domain of school leadership, which is why all our programs and workshops and whatever materials that we develop are research based. So we are constantly engaging ourselves in research, what are the recent developments in research on school leadership, on governance, across the spectrum, and as well as deep diving into the schools and into remote areas in the country as well, where we can understand what is going on, why it is going on, and how can we improve that. So these four domains, if you look at the four domains together, they are quite interlinked.
Yes.
And one feeds into the other. Basically, this whole cyclical process actually represents the fact that we are covering policy, practice, and research in a cyclical process. So we practice, and then we research into the whats and whys and hows, and that helps us developing materials.
Yes.
That helps us conceptualizing large-scale programs.
And ma'am, when I've seen when school heads visit the studios and they, have a discussion with you or people from NCSL, Niepa, and they basically express themselves, how they express themselves, how they've achieved these milestones. I can see that NCSL has a big hand behind their overall development, because India is such a diverse country. They are coming from different backgrounds, but still, achieving the targets and not compromising on any situation. I think these functions totally tell that how NCSL is making a big difference in this entire process of school leadership development.
Correct. Absolutely, you're right. And how NCSL has also attempted to keep itself abreast with all the recent developments and relevant every year, because when we see that, organizations develop, they might have a shelf life of 3 years or 5 years. But we have been running in the system for almost 12 years, and there are many more years to go.
So what is the magic behind?
So the magic is a good conceptualization in terms of how we interlink every single step that we take. It is research focused, research based, and it is also backed by very strong tools for policy implementation.
Right.
And we also have this direct interface with school leaders through various mechanisms, through various face-to-face online mechanisms, through cascade models, through non-cascade models as well. We have 1 month certificate course on school leadership and management. We are also developing content for postgraduate diploma on school leadership and management. So we have different modalities, different models which are running parallelly. And we are at the same time, we are trying to keep ourselves relevant.
And ma'am, is there any standard operating procedure? I mean, I want to understand how NCSL is catering to the diverse needs of the country and diverse needs of students, school leaders. How is it happening?
Yes, so as you see in the next slide, you know, this is really the ecosystem that we are talking about, and we all know that everyone is working in a system, and each system functionary is dependent and interdependent on the other. So we of course have feedback loops. We of course have various models that I just mentioned, and I think it's in collaboration. With everyone, we are able to design and conceptualize as well as implement very relevant practices at various levels, so that the model is relevant and it is it is updated every time. So that is really the thinking behind it. And of course, as I mentioned this, and you also know that we invite school principals on a regular basis. We visit schools across India on a regular basis. So we also have a lot of scope and opportunity for the field voices to get integrated into the policy implementation guidelines and SOPs. So I think that is something which is really critical to the success of the center.
Yes.
Right.
Now, of course, Milestones Achievement programs conducted, you have been talking about workshops, seminars, providing training and research and development. So I'm sure there's so many things that you've already achieved that were there in the bucket list and you've fulfilled. Right. So, take us through that journey, and let's try to understand that what challenges, in fact, you people faced, but still you achieved the milestones that were there.
Right. So we are working parallelly on all the four domains, which is the content and material development, capacity building, designing the CPT guidelines, as well as networking and institutional building, and research and development.
Right.
So we are working on all these four domains parallelly and in a very integrated fashion. If you look at the milestones that we have covered over the past few years, which is actually the last year was a culmination of our efforts for the last 3-4 years. We are one of our verticals is developing content on skills-based and vocational education, which is very critical of. If you look at NEP 2020.
Yes, yes.
And for this, we are collaborating with the MSDE, Ministry of Skills Development and Entrepreneurship. We have gone ahead and conducted two very specific, very focused workshops with the Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti on leading mental health and social emotional well-being of GNV school leaders as well as students. We are in the process of developing a model which is based on the interdependence of various stakeholders for ensuring mental well-being, which is going to be a generic model, a generic program. So we have covered a large portion on skills. We have covered and moved very ahead in mental well-being. We have also forayed into another very significant area, which is an important theme of NEP 2020, which is the equity, diversity and inclusion, and how do schools ensure equity of all the student population, whichever background they're belonging to.
Yes.
So, and how does the school maintain diversity as an asset and not as a shame in the school? So how do you really lead schools with justice, and how do you lead schools that are equitable?
Despite the constraints.
Despite the constraints, and despite the huge challenges that our school leaders are facing with respect to students coming from low socioeconomic background and even middle socioeconomic background.
Ma'am, even geographical conditions, climatic conditions.
Right, absolutely. So this covers a very wide area of NEP 2020, and we have also seen that NEP talks about identifying and delineating areas which are special education zones, and so we are just brainstorming on what these special education zones are going to be. What are the characteristics going to be, and how do we ensure equitable education systems. So this is the third area. The fourth area that we have worked upon is pedagogical leadership for enhancing student competencies in government schools. So NCSL in the past had collaborated with CBSE to develop a handbook on pedagogical leadership. So we are taking it forward, not just central schools, but what are the challenges specifically for improving student learning outcomes in the government schools, which are run by the state governments or the UT governments. So these are very, this has been a very enriching experience for us, working on pedagogical leadership, which is very much aligned with the entire framework of NCERT and the National Curriculum Framework on School Education 2023.
And what about the best practices?
Yes, so we are coming to the best practices now. So we conducted a national conference for school leaders, and this is our annual feature on celebrating school leadership. This time we had, identified some 6 to 7 themes on which we had invited case studies and video documentaries from schools, and they were the themes, if I may just spell them out: academic leadership, leadership for skills, for equity diversity, for social emotional learning, leading community partnerships, leading technology integrated school processes, and leading good governance in schools. So we had an overwhelming response from the school leaders. 57 cases were selected, and they came and they presented their very rich practices and their challenges, their practices, and their leadership. So this is a celebration that we do every single year.
Wow.
We also, as I told you, we also work with our school leadership academies, and they are also our core partners in content development. They are our core partners in implementation of the school leadership program, which is very integral to Samagra Shiksha. That is a centrally sponsored scheme of Government of India. And we regularly communicate with our school leadership academies, in terms of how are they planning for a large state level, UT level changes and reforms in the education system. And we also conduct an annual review and planning workshop, wherein they come and they share with us what are their experiences and how have they been implementing the various content, resource books, handbooks, what kind of programs they are conducting for school principals, school leaders, for diet faculty, for SCRTs, for CMATs, and also for district education officers and block education officers.
So you're collaborating with such institutions, prestigious institutions, and when you say good leadership, it is like hands in glove with good governance.
Yes, absolutely. And we were also entrusted with a study on good governance in school education prospects and innovative practices, for which we conducted both workshops at national level for understanding field level data, and also visited eight states and UTs in the last financial year, covering almost over about 50 schools, deep diving into schools, understanding the processes, challenges, and how are they really leading schools which are high on the indicators of governance.
Right.
And we would soon be coming out with some generic findings on this area.
Okay.
Right.
Establishing them as role models for the different schools to follow?
Yes.
Okay.
And there are many more layers to the study, so which we will be sharing as if it's to be made public. So
okay.
We will see that.
Yeah.
We also have done a lot of request programs, by Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan and Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti. So they do, of course, because we are all partners in leadership development of school leaders. So sometimes, the whole the context and the challenges of school leaders who are running the central government schools is a little different from what the state government schools are. In fact, administratively quite different,
Okay.
And there are many more layers to it. So we also conduct programs for our other national level organizations, which are basically hinging on capacity development.
So you're customizing the programs as per the requirements.
Right.
Because urban places, they have their own situations, rural areas have their own problems. Okay.
Yes. Then we were also very fortunate to be a part of the PM Shri Schools capacity building workshops.
Okay.
We took sessions on school leadership development, and we have also developed a specific booklet for PM Shri Schools on school leadership development. This entire program again is a program that is of the Department of School Education and Literacy, Government of India. And we are also part of this program in terms of what do we understand by school leadership, amongst many other organizations which are governmental and non-governmental organizations.
Okay.
So a lot of work we had done under this as well.
So you're keeping up with the digital literacy mission of the Government of India as well.
Right. So if you really look at that, specifically last year, what we had done is that we were also approached by other organizations which are working in the area of innovation. So we have the Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, which is in AICTE. So we are planning to work on a handbook on leading innovations in school education, in collaboration with AICTE and Niti Aayog, and we will be working on that this current financial year. So we'll be taking that forward. CBSE had also approached us to do their program on Atal Tinkering Laboratories, and this is something which added a new dimension to NCSL.
Okay.
So these are certain glimpses of the programs that we have conducted in the last financial year.
Now this is one of my favorites, live streaming.
Live streaming. So really a successful dimension of NCSL. With very high viewership, which is, we don't have a mechanism to really assess the TRP of the program, but definitely on YouTube, there's a little bit of a...
but you have accessed the hearts of lay persons like me, who didn't know what exactly NCSL is doing.
Right. So, but there, yes, I mean, there are many takers to PME Vidya channels on the television, and these are certain programs that actually take you to that school from where the school leader has come.
Yes.
So you basically travel the entire country when you're watching live streaming.
Yeah.
So this is something that is really successful. In this current financial year, we'll be working more on conducting live streaming programs, not just for school leaders, but also for representatives of school leadership academies, our nodal officers from there, as well as content sessions, content-based sessions. And if we do have the time, we will also invite certain system level functionaries. We also have this online program on school leadership and management that we run on the NIXI server. It is currently under maintenance, but the entire program leads to a certificate for school leaders. We had conducted a few live sessions on how to really register yourself on the online PSLM. This is specifically only for school principals, only for school leaders of government and aided schools, whether central or state.
All right.
And this has seen a high participation as well as certification. These are certain documents that we had come up with. We are translating the 1-month certificate course of National Center for School Leadership in Hindi. We have other documents here. We are also dedicating a separate portal to the school leadership academies, and we are developing guidelines on continuous professional development.
In fact, National Education Policy 2020 is also focusing big time on regional languages, native languages. How NCSL is making a difference there?
Yes. We are committed to promotion of Bharatiya Bhasha at both national and state UT level. Our leadership academies, we encourage them to develop content on not just in English or Hindi, but in the Indian languages, which are the 22 Indian languages that are in the 8th schedule of the Constitution of India. So we encourage the creation of content in these Indian languages, as well as a few ancillary languages.
Right.
But they have high readability, high visual appeal, because when you see some content in your own mother tongue.
Oh yes, you feel connected. In fact, the school leaders who come here and when they talk in their own native language, I think we get the maximum reach at that point.
Absolutely, and we encourage that.
Yes.
We encourage that.
Yes.
We also conduct a lot of sessions in Hindi as well as in English.
Yeah.
And whoever is invited, they are encouraged to speak in their own Indian language. So we have, it's not just about speaking, but a lot of written content is in the Indian languages that NCSL is very proud of. And we are constantly translating, trans-contextualizing our English and materials into various Indian languages. And we also have 8 to 10 Indian languages available for the online program on school leadership management.
Oh, lovely.
So we have this as a very beautiful dimension of NCSL.
Right.
At the same time, in the last financial year, we have also conducted a quite number of capacity development workshops in various states and UTs, which we also began with this new concept of inter-SLA seminar 2-3 years back.
Okay.
Where we encourage school leadership academies to conduct a regional seminar where you can invite more school principals, just not just a national conference, but regional decentralization of practices and sharing and dissemination, where a lot of SLAs can invite school principals and nodal persons and core group members to really share
exchange of knowledge is there, yes.
Right. So and this has been really hugely successful in this current financial. Also, we are going to see more of these inter-SLA seminar.
We have seen, school leaders making their own groups also in a particular state and connecting with other school leaders in this region. And of course, this has brought NCSL in the news also.
Yes, absolutely. So if you look at a few more glimpses here, these are certain training programs, capacity development programs that we have conducted. And we have also developed a robust state resource group in many states and UTs, in fact all the states and UTs, and we are covering training programs both at preschool, primary, elementary, and as well as like what you have as NEP 2020 stages, if I may say, the foundational stage, the preparatory, and and of course the secondary stage. So we are contextualizing, customizing programs. The concept of leadership remains the same, but yes, the size of the school, the challenges of the school, they differ.
Yes, and I think it is the best way to bridge the gap also, because we do have rural and urban divide.
Yes.
So, needs are different, priorities are different, situations are different there, and with such customized programs, seminars, workshop, I think NCSL is setting the tone for the overall and well-rounded development. But these are things that you have achieved. If you have missed out on something, you can definitely share it now, because then I'll be talking about the way forward, because we still have miles to go.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So if you can just focus on the slides once more. So this is really our reach at the district level, at the school level. So this is something that we have been doing and consistently for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
And we continue to maintain the same standards, the same quality standards for this current financial year as well.
Yeah.
So here I think as the year will progress, more things will unfold.
Yeah.
So it's better, less said than better. So
but I'm wondering, because you've already achieved so much as an institution, is there anything left?
Absolutely. So as we all know that the National Education Policy 2020 has brought in far reaching changes in the school education system to make it more relevant and to focus more on competencies of students. So if you ask us, one of the core goals of NEP 2020 implementation is to develop competent individuals.
Yeah.
Competent individuals, who of course boast of multiple competencies and are also, well adjusted to lead a productive life. And I think one of the important aspects has been the focus on employability and being competent, being skilled as individuals. And we all know that in a very fast changing world, we need to have a host of competencies. We just can't be digitally fluent and say that we have reached the pinnacle.
No.
We need to be digitally fluent, but at the same time we need to have a very strong foot in our in our roots.
Yeah.
And we need to be very culturally resilient as well.
Yes.
Not just digitally fluent. So there are multiple competencies that we're really talking of, and we are envisaging who is that student of the 21st century. how do we see that child?
Yes.
How do we see that student? How do we see that adolescent? And what is the role of that student, in the future?
Absolutely, because it is not only enhancing what school leaders already have, it is also mentoring the upcoming school leaders who want to have a career in the field. And I think apart from providing good leadership, good governance training to the school leaders that are there in the country, it is also impacting the lives of those who are working at NCSL, because they're also equally involved in the capacity building programs, trainings, workshops. So it is also enhancing their personality and widening their knowledge base also.
Right. So absolutely, what you said is very true, because all the education systems, essentially are working with adults.
Yeah.
We do say that, education systems work for children. Of course, they do work for children, but then who is that mediator?
Yeah.
Who's really at the heart of, imparting education or creating an environment where children grow and thrive and, become productive. So it's the adult.
Yes.
So the Center for School Leadership is focusing on adult competencies, developing adults as influential leaders, who can then build the competencies of students, or who can create those opportunities and environment, learning environment where the future of the country is able to, become a competent leader.
And so I want to understand one thing here, ma'am, because whenever we frame any policy, if it is not implemented at the grassroots level, or it is not giving the desired benefit to the targeted audience or the, I would say, class, then it is not serving the purpose. How do you make sure that NCSL is serving its purpose well? I'm sure it is encountering many challenges, because when you collaborate with such diverse institutions, when you try to bring people on the same page, on the same platform, there's so many things that generally come up.
Right.
So what kind of situations you face generally, and how do you cope up with the challenges and this ever-changing dynamic of education?
Yes. This kind of reminds me of this concept of simplexity by Michael Fullan, who's a leading thinker on leadership. And it is, how do you make complex situations simple?
Yes.
And how do you relate the most complex of matters and the most complex of things simply to the last beneficiary,
Yes.
And here in the education system, when we are talking about beneficiary, every single individual is a beneficiary, right from the child to the student to the adult to the parent and the community at large.
Yes.
So when we are talking about the holistic system, everyone is really feeding into the other. So it's an interdependent model, where you're not really over dependent on anyone or highly independent that I can survive on my own. That is also not there. So we are interdependent stakeholders of a system where every single stakeholder is a beneficiary, and of course the heart of the system is the child.
Yes.
So I think the key to NCSL's success and the key to NCSL's relevance is keeping it simple.
Right. And AI in education is playing a massive role these days. NEP 2020 is focusing hugely on digital education, and AI is everywhere. But when you talk about AI and providing content in that format to the students, of course, teachers, school leaders, they need to be trained in that.
Right, absolutely.
So how NCSL is working in this field?
Correct. So if you look at way forward, we have created these word clouds, which are also available on NCSL social media. And this really gives us a snapshot into what we are going to see. It's like a window to this current year. And we are going to look at many aspects. As you said, that artificial intelligence has really come into the picture, and everybody is talking about it, but nobody really understands how to maneuver through these new
There is
changes.
fear also, it's
fear
going
as
to
well.
replace the teachers, or it will impact the creativity or logical thinking.
Absolutely. But yes, I mean, if we have the correct systems and correct anchorage in place, this can be taken to our advantage.
Right.
So we basically, these are the areas that we are going to look at in this current financial year, and this is going to not only just add to the NCSL's mandate, but also kind of enrich its dimensions.
Yes.
So we are going to focus on definitely on data analytics. I would like to suggest our school principals, school leaders, educational administrators to go for if you can get hold of certain online courses, certificate courses on data analytics, they will teach you hands-on exercises on how do you really understand data, what are the uses of data, and how do you use data for decision making.
Right.
And of course, there are many more aspects to it, which we will be delving deeper into it this year. And that is going to be one of the major areas that we are going to explore.
Yes.
And we are also going to create a national database for school leaders and for all those stakeholders who have undergone leadership programs, leadership trainings, and basically integrate that into a database. So we are going to work on that in collaboration with CIT and NCERT, where we are sitting.
Yes.
We will see how we can integrate that database in Vidya Samiksha Kendra, that the headquarter of VSK is in NCERT itself. So we'll see how we can do that, and of course, this is not possible without the support of NCERT and our Honorable Vice Chancellor Niepa. She is also leading the National Center for School Leadership.
Wow.
This is another area that we are going to proceed, as well as we will see how we can make our documents, our programs, our content more reaching to a wider audience through Diksha. Which is again a national level portal.
We need to access all of this. Where we can access? What is the web portal?
We can share the social media handles, and we can share the website. So whatever materials we have developed are on the website. So anyone can access it from there, and we'll constantly upload. The only point is that once the documents are final, only then we upload. So we sometimes people do have a challenge in identifying where are our documents, but we need to kind of finalize them before we publish it. We would also be working with Nishtha, the program that is for training of teachers and school heads, especially in the area of education administration and Kaushal. In this current year, we will also be coming out with certain policy briefs on various aspects of NEP 2020 with reference to the work that NCSL has done and with reference to the learnings that we have drawn from various themes that are integral to NEP 2020.
Okay.
We are also developing content for postgraduate diploma on school leadership management. However, the modality is not yet clear, but we will be definitely working towards it so that we know how we can make it accessible to everyone who is a school leader. And these are the areas that you're going to work on. The most critical is going to be, of course, working in the area of Indian knowledge system. As we all know that the Indian knowledge system has a very powerful presence in NEP 2020. And it is not something new. It has been part of our ancient culture, tradition, but it is not ancient. It is as modern as it is ancient.
And very relevant.
And very relevant. So we will also see, and we will also try to document, visit schools that are promoting Indian knowledge system and they are promoting Indian languages. And we will see how we can document the school practices and disseminate in a larger audience.
Right.
So Indian knowledge system is going to be a prominent theme in this current financial year.
We are looking forward to it, and now you can reveal those social media handles where we can access whatever you have already uploaded.
Yes, absolutely.
So these are the web portals and social media handles. You can take a screenshot of the same. And now, ma'am, we have to wind up the session over here.
Yes.
But we've discussed a lot, and this has only made me more curious to know what's coming next and what's coming ahead in this entire year, because it's not just about meeting with the school leaders, but newer content, newer innovations, and something new and exciting, not just for the school leaders, but for the masses.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for your time and contribution to the session. It was indeed a delightful conversation where we today talked about what exactly NCSL is doing, it has achieved so far, and how the future looks so brighter. So that was our session today on envisioning school leadership development, milestones and way forward under this wonderful series that has begun today on school leadership development for Viksit Bharat and 2047. Now with this, I'm wrapping up the session over here, but before I leave, it's time for me to update you about this competition Balpan Ki Kavita. Let's take a look.
क्या आपको भी गीत, कविता पढ़ने, लिखने और गाने गुनगुनाने में रुचि है? तो आइए शिक्षा मंत्रालय भारत सरकार की एक अनूठी और सराहनीय पहल का हिस्सा बने तथा भारतीय भाषाओं और अंग्रेजी में लोकगीत और कविताएं भेजें। आप दिए गए लिंक पर अपनी रचनाएं अथवा किसी अन्य रचनाकार के गीत और कविताएं भेज सकते हैं। भारतीय भाषा कविता प्रतियोगिता के नियम आदि भी आपको इसी लिंक पर उपलब्ध होंगे।
So thank you so much for watching that video, and we wish you luck for the competition. Also, NCERT textbooks for grade 4 and 7 are now available on Amazon, Flipkart and NCERT website. Please grab your copies now. And now let's take a quick look at the schedule. What's all coming ahead for you, So tomorrow. So we'll start the day with yoga. Yoga to beat the heat is going to be the topic. At 2 p.m. we will bring you a session on accountancy where we will learn about rectification of errors. At 3 p.m. there will be a live session on entrepreneurship where we will be learning about ecosystems of entrepreneurship. So please watch these sessions and participate in them. With this, it's a wrap. This is me, Harpreet Kaur, taking leave of you. Namaskar.